You know those days when there is nothing to talk about on US Fan TV, so we make it up and we end up talking about peanut butter and whatever else comes to mind? This is
Peanut
not
Butter Fan TV.
this is not one of those days. We have a list, and there's more stuff on the list than I think we can even get to tonight, but we're going to try because it's what we do. We're here
That's
for
what
you.
we do. We bring it to you. We bring this all to you.
Chris, tell them what show this is.
This is US Fan TV. I'm Chris.
And I am Pat.
I'm Chris.
And we also have from the Minivan Dad Soccer Pod, TJ.
Hey, I am not Chris, and I am not Hat Guy. And okay, so we have US MLS Cup final coming up, and you're wearing an Arsenal hat. Seriously, dude?
I have my Timbers hat right here, but how could I not be? How could I not be wearing an Arsenal hat?
Greatest win of the season
this
week.
Oh, I hate Tottenham so much.
What do we think of Tottenham?
Shit. There was almost our friend Chris got in the face of a Tottenham supporter who decided to show himself at the Globe Pub in Chicago on Sunday. And I had a plan. I had a plan to send a ceramic mug his way should things get out of hand, but he saw himself out.
He spurs his way out of there.
But there was a direct and very, very aggressive double middle finger
it's very
maneuver.
Confrontational.
Very confrontational.
The Spurs you're referring to, they're the E-League team for the San Antonio Spurs, right?
Honestly, I'm not even sure.
Well, because the G League is the NBA developmental league, so they got to be E-League then, right? Because they're in England. They're the English version of farm team for the San Antonio Spurs.
Yeah, jokes. Are these the kind of jokes that you get on the Minivan Dad Soccer Pod?
You know, you've listened, so you know the answer to that already. So.
I have listened to a little bit. I'm glad that you know that I've listened.
I can't think of anybody else in Darien who would, so.
You do have your delivery on this show is a lot more intense. And that on the pod, you're very like sweaty balls. You've got that kind of soft radio. And we're here to talk about minivans.
Well, I think it's just because we have Chris here. I mean, that's
gets your blood boiling. So let me tell you some of the things you might hear us talk about tonight. You might talk about, oh my God, see, Jameson just said we didn't even have Pulisic and the Copa Trophy on our list. We didn't even have that on our list.
Yeah.
You know what? We're starting with that because I'm excited about that. So I'm putting it down on the list. We have Pulisic, second place in that. Messi and Ronaldo voted him as second place, which is amazing to me. It just blows my mind. Gregg Berhalter, I don't know if you heard, but he's actually officially now for real our head coach. Josh Sargent is going to play tomorrow. At least he's going to be with the first team tomorrow.
He's going to be in the 18.
Yeah.
Well,
Zack Steffen is going to Man City, even though he's not going to Man City, but it is a little more official than we had thought. Tyler Adams is going to Leipzig for whatever dollar amount you want to call it because it's the same ownership group. Panama, we're playing them. There's a lawsuit between USSF and the US Soccer Foundation because things are wonderful there. Jermaine Jones, I have big updates for you on that front. If you watched last week, you know what I'm talking about.
Updates.
Chris Richards appears to be officially going to Bayern, like all the way, not just a loan. And I'm sure I've forgotten more, but let's talk about Pulisic first because the fact that, you know, I sort of get, what's the word? I sort of sometimes wonder if I'm like, in Chicago sports radio, it's kind of called hometown stupid or out of town. You're out of town stupid. You only know what goes on with your guys. And with Pulisic, I sometimes wonder if because we're in the U.S. soccer bubble, if I'm overrating him or if I'm being too hard on him or whatever it is. So when the news came out this week that he finished second to Kylian Mbappe, one of the best players in the world, for the under 21 trophy, and on top of that, he got votes from guys like Messi, Ronaldo.
Maybe you've heard of them.
Mateus. He got a third place vote from Zinedine Zidane. I can't speak tonight. It was one of those moments where I'm like, okay, maybe he is doing all right. Maybe, maybe everybody is on board with this. What did you guys think about that? Because I was blown away by that.
He also got second place vote from Luis Suarez.
Different one, though.
This was a joke we had going in our text back and forth that, Yeah, Pat got all excited and then didn't found out it was a different.
Then I noticed, I'm like, no, that guy's in black and white. That's the old one. Okay. But yeah, I mean, when we start to wonder, we kind of had the last few shows, it's been like, well, Chelsea wants to spend a lot of money on him, but at the same time, we wonder if his production levels are off, and if he's not even starting in their Classicer, it's concerning. Is he not as good as we thought he would be? Is he not as far along? And then this happens, and you're like, on one hand, these awards are bullshit, and Luka Modric won over a bunch of guys who are better than him. On the other hand, it's still an honor, and I'm going to take it at that. I think it was pretty cool to see.
I mean, there's definitely some hype behind it all, and it's who do they know? Like how many of the under 21 players are they aware of to even name for this award? So
that's true.
There's always some of that. I mean, it is a little bit of
it's a popularity contest. Yeah.
That said, there's a reason why you become popular. But to me, like the coolest part is like how awesome must it be for Pulisic to be like, wait a minute, Messi and Ronaldo know my name. Like they know who I am. Like that's like the coolest thing to me.
Chris, that's under the presumption that Ronaldo and Messi actually filled that out and wasn't their agent.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I know.
But still, we're going to take that presumption because it's fun to think about. Yeah, I was, I don't know that it was entirely unexpected, but it was still pretty cool to see. And when you actually saw the list of the award was one thing, but when you saw the list of who actually voted for him, it got even cooler. Berhalter, guys. I mean, we knew it was going to be him. I feel, after reading Paul Tenorio's piece in The Athletic about how Ernie Stewart went about this, and then after the news conference, I'm going to tell you guys that I feel a little bit better. Not only am I willing to give Berhalter the benefit of the doubt and wish him well, and I think he's bringing some good ideas, which I kind of felt that way all along. As far as the process goes, which you were pretty down on, I feel a little bit better. The PR was still a nightmare with it, but at least it seems like the process had some rhyme and reason to it.
Was it the PR? Was it the PR's bad, or the process was just quiet? This is the same thing I've mentioned on every occasion. It seems like that the guys who usually have their access, such as Grant Wall, didn't get their access, so they're talking about this being a PR nightmare. And it's like I said, and I keep coming back to it's twofold. The first one is there's nothing going on, so it's the one thing everybody has to talk about, and it was never going to go fast enough for everybody. And if soccer Twitter didn't get who they wanted selected, they were going to be butthurt about it. And then the other part of it is because they didn't have access, of course, that's now the problem. Well, it's a PR nightmare. It's just because, Grant Wall, you didn't have the usual answers from everybody that you're used to having. Yeah, it was who everybody thought it was. But the fact that you never heard Stewart talking about it, you never heard anybody really from U.S. Soccer, even the voices didn't seem to know what was going on. And I don't consider that a bad thing.
And you know what? Somebody brought this up, and I hadn't considered this before, but from an optics standpoint, it would have been really bad if U.S. Soccer had pulled Gregg Berhalter away from Columbus Crew mid-season before we knew that the Crew were saved. It would have been one more, well, there's U.S. Soccer and MLS working hand in hand to kill the Crew. So I hadn't considered that, to be honest. So I get that maybe that's the reason why they just shut their mouths and let this go on, because that
came from wrong side of the pond, and because I caught that one. But is it that U.S. Soccer didn't want to get involved with that, or did Berhalter say, "I'm not doing this till the end of the season for that reason"? He seems like he's smart enough, he's intuitive enough that that's a consideration on his end as well.
True, and if you knew you had it, there wasn't a huge reason to do it then. But
I mean, if you figure Ernie Stewart wasn't on the job until August 1st,
right?
Anyway, officially anyway, and realistically may not have truly been on the job until after that. At that point, why? In what world would anyone leave a coaching position? I guess unless maybe they were coaching Spain on the eve of the World Cup, but. Why would you break it up in any position at that point? You always finish out the season then, because it makes no difference.
So do we feel okay about this?
I mean, I will say I liked the things he had to say.
Mhm.
You know, I liked in his interview with Alexi Lalas too. You know, where he talked about presenting to U.S. Soccer kind of what his take on where the team stood was, where he thinks it could go, where he thinks it should go. I liked that he talked about, you know, he wants to see attacking soccer.
Mhm.
He doesn't
From the back, built out of the back, not
He doesn't just want to see us, you know, countering or bunkering and you know, playing long balls. You know, he said people want to see exciting soccer. Usually, exciting soccer is attacking soccer. We want our soccer to be exciting. So,
I guess with Berhalter, what I feel is he's not going to get out game. He's rarely going to. If he gets out game planned, I'd be surprised. I don't ever really remember seeing that in anything I've ever seen with Columbus. He's one of the smarter guys in the room. He gets it. Now, whether that translates, we'll see how his message is received.
Is she getting hungry? Do you have to feed her? Do you have to offer her a teat?
it's just normal Zaremba crying.
Well, there's that, and the fact that she's also teething, and yeah.
Ooh, is she gonna bite you? I hope she bites you.
She's trying to chew on the wires already, so. But yeah.
Robert says that both Vieira and Marsh left their job in MLS midseason. That is a good point.
True. That's fair.
And Anonymity says MLS coach with MLS results. Anonymity does not like this whole process, which I can see his point on this. I'm not super excited about it, but I'm ready to be done being angry and start being optimistic. So,
hey,
Vieira at least left though for the start of a different league season. So I mean, you can understand some of the timing there.
And Marsh was ordered by his overlords to.
Yeah.
Speaking of, we could,
Marsh moved within the organization, so
it's lower on the list, but we should mention that because there's a segue opportunity there, and I don't ever want to miss one of those. Speaking of Red Bull moving people around, Tyler Adams is officially a Leipzig player now. Is Leipzig here to comment on that? I don't see him in the chat.
I was just wondering, are we sure it's Tyler Adams, or because Chris was thinking it was Josh Sargent was moving earlier?
He was. I mean, I think we kind of knew that this was going to be it, and it's another young American in the Bundesliga is. It's like when all the Americans played for Fulham, except now they all play in the Bundesliga. It's kind of it. It's still pretty cool to see, and the fact that so many young guys find it easier to find opportunities. I'm not talking about Tyler Adams here, but we have guys who are finding it easier to find opportunities in the Bundesliga rather than with MLS teams at a young age. Still strikes me as incredibly stupid and a big problem with MLS because the Bundesliga is obviously a way better league. So, but I wish him well there. I think he'll do well there. I think Tyler Adams is a hell of a player, future captain of ours perhaps, and if they don't, just have it be Pulisic.
Well, I'm just wondering, you said that they find better opportunities versus what they find in MLS or the USL sides accordingly. Do they find better opportunities? Because, I mean, Pulisic, McKinney, I guess Wright, now maybe Sargent. But a lot of these guys are on their two teams, which is just it's a better two team than it is to be in MLS. I guess that's kind of the counter argument to it at this point.
Well, I mean, when you have a guy like Josh Sargent who just decided to go over there rather than to go through the crap of going through MLS. I think it's better to begin with, but I feel like it's easier for these guys to get seen and break through when they're good. I feel like MLS doesn't put enough of an emphasis on young, good players. So,
and there is.
I mean, you look at Haji Wright getting the call up at Schalke, and didn't he start like last week too?
Haji Wright never was in MLS. He chose to go to.
I know.
He played for the Cosmos.
I'm saying he went from considering he's been a guy who's sat on Schalke's 23 team for so long. It's he could have gone somewhere else. He's getting a chance in Germany. If he tried MLS, would he ever gotten that?
We have another segue opportunity. Speaking of a guy who's getting a chance in Germany, Josh Sargent's going to be – he may not play, but he's with the first team this weekend, and they have a game tomorrow, right?
Tomorrow, 1:30 on FS2. So, yeah,
still don't get FS2.
There's the chance we could see our boy. And by the way, I did not mistake Tyler Adams for Josh Sargent. It was I missed.
It was just in the text. I knew.
No, I'm just making the comment because somebody's gonna comment in the.
They look very different.
How do you not know who Josh Sargent is? How do you not know who Tyler Adams is? Like,
Well, actually, the simple answer to that is because
every few months we get the how do you guys not know who Tottenham is?
We haven't gotten one of those. I don't look as much.
I do love that one though.
Are you serious? You do a show on football and you don't know who Tottenham is? They're only the best team in North London.
they're still a San Antonio Spurs farm team. I don't care what anybody says. And I don't even like anybody in the Premier League necessarily, except that I know that Spurs is a San Antonio Spurs farm team. That's all we need to know. Let's move on. Sargent. So it's on FS2, so you won't be watching, right, Pat?
I won't be unless I find a friend who can offer a stream. I'm not supposed to talk about that on the show anymore. Anonymity would like you to turn your mic up, Chris. He feels like you're not loud enough.
Really? I could talk louder. It's probably
talk louder.
Yeah.
Talk more.
It's probably that because it's in my ear, it sounds like it's louder to me, so I don't talk as loud. I try to modulate my voice for air. Yeah.
Wonderful.
So anyway, yeah, check out. Hopefully, we'll see Josh Sargent tomorrow. Who's to say he'll actually make the field? But it is promising that he's finally making the first team roster because they've been given the heads up for what 2 months or something now that it's coming. It's coming.
They do seem excited about him when they talk about him.
There's plenty of reason to.
So we have a request that Chris never use the word modulate again. I tend to agree with that one.
And Christian also says your mic is quieter, Chris.
All right. Sorry.
Because you're on the headset.
Yeah, maybe.
I have a mic right here I can talk into in a world.
Mr. Microphone. Is it too quiet now? Is it too loud now? I can't say what happened, what the change was there, because I've been told that's a word I can no longer use.
TJ says Sargent's hat trick coming. Yes, let's do it. I'm all for that. That'd be wonderful. Blame it on the iPad. I mean,
blame it on the iPad.
I think we all should just be lucky that you're here and on the show.
That you mean that the iPad survived the night of the purge of iPads?
Did you actually smash it against the wall?
I did not. No. I don't always do things
like that Tottenham fan on Sunday.
I did get very confrontational with that guy, I suppose.
He was very aggressive and very bold.
Hey, he'd been the one to start stupid, ridiculous cheers when he was the only person at the bar. Like, to me, that stuff's you're asking for something. He just happened to be near me, so I happened to be the guy who told him what's up.
Oh, all right.
It's inter team relations. As we know, I enjoy a good back and forth amongst fans.
You do enjoy.
I like a little bit of aggression and malintent.
Robert's making fun of the Arsenal hat. This is an old hat. I actually wore this to the Emirates a couple of years ago, and I wrote a story for the Arsenal Matchday program, and they drew a cartoon of me as my picture, and I am wearing this hat in that cartoon. It's a real story.
Perhaps you should post that to USfanTV.com and let people see it.
I could do that. I could.
Well played, Zero.
Oh yeah, I know. I wonder. I think his mic is off. I think she's fully biting his collarbone, and I think his mic is off for that reason. He doesn't want it, like his screams or whimpers or.
That's me on a normal night. What the hell are you talking about?
Oh dear God. What else you guys want to do? Zack Steffen. He's going to Man City, although maybe not Man City. Maybe Girona.
Probably, yeah. I mean, the word is he's moving on to Spain. I mean, he's all but certain to not get a work permit, so he's not staying in England. But But
Why wouldn't he get a work permit though?
He does not have.
He has it. You got to play in, what is it, 75% of your national team's games over the last year.
Yeah, and then on top of that,
isn't he pretty close to that right now?
I mean, the thing he has going for him is there haven't been a ton of games for the U.S. He has played in a number of them. So, with that and presumably Berhalter saying, yeah, no, he's totally in our plans, there is the chance they could get it waived. But Man City get it waived, but are they willing to do that right now when they could probably sign somebody in a month who doesn't have that problem? I haven't looked at what City's schedule's like over the next 3 weeks, but if it's not too bad, they figure they can get through it. I could see where it's not like they don't have the money. They'll just sign somebody else in January,
or they'll bribe the FA, one or the other.
Look, there are plenty of ways you can get the FA to waive the work permit rules, but technically I don't know. Is it the FA who waives it, or is it actually like the English government? Because it is a governmental rule. But whatever.
I'm guessing either of which are for sale.
These are things I haven't looked into in a long time, so I'm sure there are ways that a little money here or there could affect some decisions. But I just feel like it would be one thing if he was a $30 million keeper that they were buying, $7.5 million, or a £6 million keeper. I figure it's City. They'll piss money on something else and find a way to overcome it and figure it out come May.
Zack Steffen will be like on the same team with Mick Diskerud in 3 months. Let's face it for what it is.
I still don't know that Zack Steffen's that good. I don't know that he's not. I switched hats, by the way, but because we're going to talk about MLS Cup in a little bit. I don't know that he's not, but I get the feeling that we're basing our judgment of him on 2 seasons worth of important saves in penalty shootouts. I'm
basing it on the fact basing on the fact of what I've watched him do when he does play for the national team and when he's healthy. His positioning is good. He has his defense in good positions. I think for somebody of that young of age, I think he is a very good keeper. That's what I see when I watch him play. To me, it's more than just, and his distribution is probably one of the, probably the best of what we have right now. There's more to it than just straight shot stopping. Casey Keller was amazing at that. Why was Friedel better than him? Because Friedel could do all the other parts of the game, including almost 90% of the shot stopping that he could do. So that's where I see it, the difference. I think Zack Steffen's overall game is really good, and that's where I think he's going to be very good. It's not like it's just he can stop a shot and that's it. If that was all you needed to do, then then there'd be it wouldn't be him being in the U.S. goal. So,
is he better than Ethan Horvath?
That's tough.
Do we know yet? I don't even know that
we don't know. We don't know yet. Yeah. The Ethan Horvath I saw against Italy, that's tough. It's hard because Zack
played really well there.
He did. The comparison to me is that Zack Steffen, and how many of these friendlies was he nicked up? It sounds like he's been nicked up for a bit, but right now I would say if I had to put the number one out there right now, I would probably take Horvath. But it's who's going to be playing. You got to be playing. If they're both buried on the bench, then God, you almost got to look at the bald guy again.
Me?
That too.
All right.
Pat Guzan.
MLS Cup. Speaking of the bald guy, is the bald guy going to win MLS Cup, or is the I did steal this hat from a homeless guy in Portland, by the way, Robert. That was your joke, right?
Shivved him.
Yes.
Shivved him and took it.
I did. Who's got that? Are we going Atlanta? Are we going Portland? Another alternative that I don't know what it would be. What do we think is coming up with MLS Cup Saturday, 8:08
Part of me
on
thinks
FS1, ESPN2?
part
I
of
don't
me
even
thinks
know.
I should stick with Atlanta because I went with them for so long. I did wonder, would like the Tata Martino thing screw them up? Yeah. What the hell? I'm going to Atlanta. I can't believe I can't believe like effectively a brand new team is not only playing for a championship but has a very good chance of winning it. I mean, they're effectively still. I mean, I suppose no one else has come in, so they are still an expansion team. But like, they're like, the new car smell isn't even really gone on them, you know?
Yeah, I still maintain that no one's going to go to those games.
Yeah, you might have been a little wrong on that one there, buddy.
Alex is calling me out on that right now. I did say that. I was adamant about it. No one's going to go to games. I mean, and I'm right. Like the Falcons don't sell out. The Thrashers got run out of town. The Hawks had to do a thing where, hey, if you're leaving the Atlanta United game, you want to pop in for a couple quarters for $10, you can.
Think about that.
I am blown away. And the Braves moved to like 90 minutes
Alabama
north or whatever, Tennessee.
I was going to say the Braves effectively moved to The comparative would be like the Cubs moving to Rosemont. I mean, for what they did.
The fact that this is happening just blows me away. I'm not complaining. It's awesome, and I'm in awe every time I see them, and they're going to be amazing Saturday night, I'm sure too. But Portland's going to win. Sorry to say.
Well, I think on the pod, I think I said I think Atlanta's going to win. I do want Portland to win. Although, and since then I've had more thoughts about it. And betting against Gio Savarese in a final, do you really want to do that? He's been pretty good. So
I do have a soft spot for Gino Savarese, I got to say. I liked him back when he played for the Metro Stars.
He was one when I know in the Fire were looking at Panovich. I know that was one I talked. One of them I thought, I'm like, you've got to bring this guy in. I mean, he's won it. He won over and over again with the Cosmos, so it seemed like with a new team every year. I get it, it's NASL, but everything you ever saw was tactically they were sound. He always played to what his team could do, and that's what I feel like. If you remember right, right before this one was born, I went to watch doubleheader. Was the Fire and the Timbers, and then later that night the Red Stars and the Thorns, and that was when Portland was like last and it was terrible, bottom of the league, and here they are in MLS Cup finals. So, yeah, he got to go in the right direction. I think he's figured everything out that way.
I did watch Portland win 2 years ago at the Highbury Pub in Milwaukee. And one of the bartenders, who is a Portland supporter, did break out a chainsaw. So at halftime,
really?
At halftime we got, and then when they won,
That's like, but you guys all have chainsaws in Wisconsin, right? Just in case you guys all have chainsaws in Wisconsin, in case you need to, because I mean, what is Wisconsin known for? It's known for serial killers, trees, and drunks, and chainsaws come into play with all those things. So,
cows, spotted cow, beer, cheese. Yep.
Am I the only one who doesn't like the Forward Madison logo and colors?
Yes.
I don't like the.
Why does it look like Miami Vice?
I don't like the pink and blue, or that is blue, right? Like this starts to get into my color issues, but like, I don't really understand the color choice.
The flamingo is the pink. The flamingo, Chris.
I guess, but it doesn't. That to me doesn't look like a flamingo. It looks more like. I don't know, some kind of like Aztec design of Phoenix or something, maybe. You did catch the reason why they chose the flamingo, right? I've read all the stuff, but whatever.
Well, hey, Chris, I've known you for a lot of years. You and reading, I'm not always sure that goes together. So,
I don't know. I don't like Forward as a name. It just.
You want to go backward?
Yes. The Forward's forward.
That's true.
There's so many things
I didn't think of it as a position, but
I totally get why Madison did it.
Yeah.
That's a very Madison thing to do.
And a very Peter Wilt thing to do.
But it's like I don't understand the name behind it because
midfielder Madison. That's enough of that. Chris's mic sucks, anonymity says. It sucks.
Sorry, guys. I could get up and get a different one, but it's a pain in the ass for me to move right now, so I'm not going to.
He's not going to move. He's got no pants on. He can't move. The I do miss the days when it would rub against your jacket. Like we used to wear stuff on the show that was like US because we felt we should, and it would always like the little mic would rub against your zipper.
I must say, I think I'm the most US fan TV like coordinated tonight.
Mr. Minivan Pod, you got the USfanTV shirt on there. Look at that.
Yeah.
Brand loyalty.
Are we doing Minivan Dad Soccer Pod shirts?
No.
Minivan Dad Soccer Pod till I die.
Hats
not yet.
Or something.
Yeah, not yet. So
is there merch? Is there a website?
No.
.net Minivan Dad Soccer Pod.net
tonight, dude.
There is a Twitter feed and there's SoundCloud and iTunes. That's about it right now.
I do like how anonymity goes with a random Irish name every time he uses.
Alex, we might go back to twice a week if U.S. soccer would go back to being meaningful.
I would expect we will at some point.
We go to twice a week if the U.S. soccer did anything meaningful, or if we actually had anything meaningful to say.
No, we never did that. But
other things we haven't touched on that we probably should. So no member of the women's national team was selected as a top 5 in the Ballon d'Or
because they cannot twerk.
Yeah,
the top the top 3 were all European. The top 3 were European based, and what was it? What's her name? From Australia. She was 4th.
Yeah, I don't remember her name.
Sam Kerr.
Sam Kerr. Yeah, Sam Kerr was 4th.
From your Chicago Red Stars, TJ.
I know. Which is why the game I have on in the background, somebody asked about that earlier. It's a replay because there's really nothing on of Adelaide and Perth women, but the Perth women, all their internationals are from the Chicago Red Stars. So that's why I caught that one night. I'm like, oh, American. Chicago Red Stars. American. Chicago. All right. I found a team in Australia I can watch it in the middle of the night.
All right, now you can stay up all night and watch some football.
Yeah, I don't see enough of the women's players, the women who are outside of the NWSL. I don't see them play, and except in the occasional international game. And there hasn't been, I'll see them play in the summer, and I'll have a better grasp of who's the best. But it's hard for me to say who's the best in an award like that because I don't see enough. But I would think that the U.S. women's national team would at least have someone in the top 5, but that's just me. You guys wanted a Jermaine Jones update? Do we need to do a quick Jermaine Jones update?
Sure.
Will it make him feel better?
Gold Cup. We've also got to talk about Panama.
Okay, I'll give you 30 seconds on Jermaine. I want a special open for it, but I don't have one right now. But he has not killed the guy from Baywatch. But the Instagram stories this week ranged. They sort of had an ebb and flow to them. It was karma's going to get you, and I'm going to sit back and watch and laugh. It was, I love my wife, we're going to work through this. And it was sort of there was an angrier one in there too. I remember there being an angrier one too. So he buries it. It's a lot of like he's playing with his kids, and then all of a sudden he's like, I want to kill that guy from Baywatch for stealing my wife. And then it's like, my wife is back. And then it's like, I'm going to read a book now. And the book is like how to not kill the guy from Baywatch.net or whatever. So that's what I know.
So there are medications that need to be incorporated into this at some point.
I think that there needs to be put the phone down and don't put the stuff on Instagram, if I'm being honest. But it's like a train wreck that I can't look away from. But I wouldn't be putting that stuff out there if I were him.
Donald Trump need to lose their phones.
Yeah. Just sometimes you don't need to write it. Sometimes you don't need to say it. Sometimes you don't need to put it out there. Sometimes you just need to think it and move on. what was we have the lawsuit?
Oh yeah. We haven't hit the lawsuit yet. We should say that. We should say that. So the U.S. announced a game versus Panama on January 27th. It'll be Gregg Berhalter's first match in charge.
In Arizona, right?
I think that's right.
Glendale, Arizona, TJ's old
I
home.
didn't write down the location. I can't remember.
Yeah, it's at it's at UPig.
It's at what?
UPig, University of Phoenix Stadium in Glendale. UPig.
Okay, it's a good one. I never knew that was what we called that.
To me, that's a big stadium to play a January game against.
That's not against Mexico.
Not very large drawing opponent.
TJ, you might be down there defending the border, so you could at least probably pop up to Glendale and go.
That stadium was probably 3 or 4 miles from both my brother's houses when they lived out in Arizona. So it's really out in the middle of nowhere. Like it's weird.
Are you still allowed in Arizona after what happened?
Well, we can't talk about that because there's still pending legal action on that. Why are we bringing this up? You told me we weren't going to talk about this.
Sorry, Chris isn't allowed in the state of Washington anymore because of what Hope said. Again. So, all right. The only reason it's not at StubHub is because of the Chargers. That makes sense.
That's true.
Does it make sense?
Yeah,
it's
I guess.
End of January.
Yeah, but the Super Bowl's not till
right.
Not till
they
February.
Might have to play a championship game there.
And how many more kids will Philip Rivers have at that point?
Ugh. That's stupid redneck.
He's like a Duggar.
Well, this is number 9.
My wife watches those shows. She watches.
I can't believe he can count that high because he is a stupid redneck.
My wife watches like 3 different shows with.
I am not a fan of Philip Rivers, for the record.
You've always hated Philip Rivers. He wronged you one year.
He screwed my fantasy football team one time, and I never forgiven him for it.
And only Chris would carry a grudge this many years later.
He still hates Kirby Puckett, and Kirby Puckett is dead.
Anonymity, you got it right. We know Pat watches those right along, because look at his obsession with Jermaine Jones. You know he watches them.
They're all named like Jedediah and Jebediah, and they side hug, and they have to have chaperones on their dates. And I've seen too much of it, to be honest. I can't talk about it. All right. What we got this? What do you want to talk about, Chris? This lawsuit?
The lawsuit.
The lawsuit. Is that where we left off? Okay. So, Chris, do you know anything about it?
Yeah. U.S. Soccer. Well, should I give the background on it, or should I just go right into the basic facts? Are U.S. Soccer told U.S. Soccer Foundation that they can no longer use the U.S. Soccer name. They're taking it back. They haven't said if they will use it themselves. U.S. Soccer Foundation is now suing to try and at least get clarification from a judge if U.S. Soccer can take the name or if they can keep operating as they are.
And the premise of this, really, if I read everything correct, and Chris, you sounds like you've read up on it as much as I have, is that U.S. Soccer wants to be able to take the U.S. Soccer Foundation money, name, whatever, and use it towards whatever they want to use it towards, as opposed to U.S. Soccer Foundation, which seems to have its own agenda towards inner city soccer, lower income, that kind of thing, where I think U.S. Soccer proper wants to use it towards stadium rebuilding or some other, to build their training center or something like that. Basically, they want to be able to fundraise for it as opposed to using their own money or having somebody else pitch in for it. So that seems to be the gist.
Yeah, there's 2 different philosophies. The foundation is about growing the game by getting more people to play it at the bottom level, and U.S. Soccer obviously cares at the top end, growing the game by making things better on TV and in the stadiums and with the national teams. So U.S.
Soccer used U.S. Soccer Foundation as an example of ways to give back during its pitch for the World Cup.
Of course it did.
U.S. Soccer Foundation is saying basically that, you kind of stab us in the back here. We were great for you when you wanted to try and make your pitch to get a World Cup. You got the vote for the World Cup, and you immediately said, "Yeah, get lost." So yeah, they're definitely fighting this. I kind of have to personally. I kind of side with U.S. Soccer Foundation because realistically, what U.S. Soccer is trying to do is steal the name so they can take the goodwill that the brand has built. You know, U.S. Soccer Foundation was created from leftover money from the '94 World Cup. They're now huge. They've always had a pretty close relationship with U.S. Soccer, which is why they basically share a name, and that's never been a problem. Now U.S. Soccer wants to, divorce itself from the foundation, from say the organization calling itself U.S. Soccer Foundation, no doubt, because they want to turn around and manage their own U.S. Soccer Foundation, which I understand on their part, but realistically, it's such a basic name. How are you going to change it? They're going to they want to use it because they want to in 2 years when everyone else has forgotten, you'll still think U.S. Soccer did all that good work because it was the foundation, and it was a separate organization. U.S. Soccer wants to steal that. Realistically, they got to pay for it. Is that how you should be working with an organization that is, I don't know, promoting all the grassroots growth that your own entity supposedly wants to support?
And we've at the 40-minute mark is the first time and probably the only time in the show I actually agree with Chris. Look, you nailed, Chris. You got it spot on. It's the foundation has genuinely grassroots, really good aims in mind. Where I think, like I said, I think U.S. Soccer proper wants to use it more as a tax haven and a fundraise and be able to fundraise so they can spend money on stuff that they could probably use their own money for when they're not paying off lawsuits or something like that.
It is a story that's a great opportunity for soccer Twitter to read too much into something and come up with their own conclusions as to what is happening and how it fits into the grand scheme of things.
It's convoluted anonymity and I guess ACE, because in the end you got two organizations that are basically named the same thing, and because
the USfanTV Foundation does this crap to us all the time too, and
I was going to make a joke about that too.
We try to kick them down and put them in their place, but they just don't understand their place, and so we want to take the USfanTV Foundation and destroy it.
So we just tell them to twerk. Oh, yeah. Speaking of which, while we were on that, I understand that the host of the Ballon d'Or show was like trying to dance with her when he said that, but it's still like, dude, do you not realize what you're doing? Like, are you that? I don't know.
He's a French DJ. Do you really? I think you've already answered that question.
You know what I heard? I heard he's a French TJ.
If you had better headphones with a better microphone, Chris, you would actually have heard that properly.
Oh, the headphone's not the problem. They're in my ear. The problem is they're so tight in my ear that I hear myself so loud in my head that I don't speak as loud.
Yeah. That's
Chris.
It.
No,
I bet
Chris.
You got it on eBay.
Chris, that's the voices in your head. Chris, that's just the voices in your head that you're working with there, buddy.
The echo.
So we had a record. So what? We had a record sellout in terms of time on the Gold Cup already?
Yeah, the Gold Cup, the first game, the opener in Minnesota is a sellout. We were thinking about going, and we thought about it for too long. So I guess we're not going unless we want to pay aftermarket prices. But I'll bet you there's always some tickets released last minute, so we'll get something if we want to go.
Plus, I mean, come on, we got enough. At least like you and I have enough connections. TJ can always pull the Army thing, which we have done before.
Do you want to turn down a soldier?
We get enough connections. Somebody will.
Is that going to be like is that stadium supposed to open in time for the beginning of MLS season, or is that like the curtain?
They're going to Tottenham that situation.
In theory, it's going to be open for the beginning of the season. Yeah, we'll see if it's not a Shite Hart Lane deal where they have no clue when it will actually be done.
So then if we don't go, the Cleveland game is on the weekend, and the KC game hasn't been – that's during the following week, but it's not – those tickets aren't on sale yet. Cleveland will be no issue getting tickets for, I would think, because the stadium's gigantic. And So
And
I'm
it's
sure we'll be
Cleveland.
able to go to that.
And
Yeah.
it's Cleveland. Nobody really wants to go to Cleveland, except for Drew Carey.
I will say though, the
I had fun there.
The hotel we stayed in when we went there, it's
Yes.
in like it's in the country's first mall or something like that. It's this old building.
A really cool
downtown.
historic old hotel.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Mhm.
That place is really
There's
cool.
some decent Cleveland is, I mean, it's
a factory of sadness.
It's Cleveland.
but there's some cool parts of it, and like it's not all horrific.
Named for Moses Cleveland, the man who invented Cleveland.
So maybe we'll go to that. We'll see.
Did he also invent the Cleveland steamer?
One can only assume.
Our friend Mike used to call it the Cincinnati steamer and yell it at people. No one knew what he was talking about.
Our weather friend, Mike?
Yes, we should talk about the Crew Stadium, as Christian just pointed out.
Why?
Because they're...
Oh, yeah.
It looks cool.
It does.
It makes me wonder if maybe we should continue with...
So did DC's on the first pictures, too.
I know. And that, well, DC's is cool. It just doesn't look the same. They always look ridiculously amazing. And the only one that I think ended up looking like the pictures was LAFC's. But
I was going to say Red Bull, probably Red Bull Arena as well.
Maybe, yeah.
Red Bull is an amazing stadium in a terrible place.
I was going to say the one in St. Paul. What is that? Allianz Park or whatever. That one looks like it's going to park. Parking lot. I'm not,
because Munich is arena and Juve is stadium. So it's the third Allianz. Are we going to pronounce it Alliance since it's here?
Allianz.
No, it's I don't know. I really like the Red Bull Stadium. Let me put it that way. The surrounding area, maybe it's not that bad. I wish there was more.
Dude, it's in New Jersey. Sorry,
Ace.
It's
I mean, I think Bridgeview sucks too.
2 miles in every direction.
Yeah.
Literally.
There's that bar.
I remember when just walking to the train after the game, the field. Like
we didn't even. We walked to Newark.
Yeah.
Because the little station right there was not. Which isn't. It sounds crazy to say that, but it's not that far. But
yeah,
it's right over the river.
Mile and a half, whatever. Yeah.
Oh, Robert's making his play for the best comment for the game. NYC is the best. NYCFC is the best one. Oh wait,
it's a cool stadium. It's not for the sport that they're playing in it.
Have you been there?
I've been outside it. And anybody says, "What's that?"
So you haven't been in it?
I haven't been in it.
So how do you know if it's a cool stadium? It might be a dump inside.
Yeah, I've seen it on TV.
I don't want to go in it. I'd be surrounded by all those
Yankee fans. I know that's pretty.
I don't want to say the word.
And anybody says Atlanta. That Atlanta stadium that looks like the future.
That also looks pretty cool. Yeah.
It also looks like a giant anus.
What's wrong with that?
Harrison is not Newark, but the Newark train station is whatever, a mile and a half from the stadium.
Are you breaking up there? Didn't you fight a man there, Chris, at the Newark train station?
That is not true. For the record, that is just a joke. We were there for US Turkey in 2014.
Mm-hmm.
Just before
that was
the
a good
World
one.
Cup.
It was a happier time.
Bradley had that amazing ball to why am I suddenly drawing a blank on his name? Our German midfielder.
Jermaine Jones.
No, our left midfielder and sometimes left back.
Fabian Johnson. I guess he's a forgotten name at this point. We considered him our best player 2 years ago.
Played that awesome give and go, and
That's right.
Yeah, we were in the corner right next to Alexi and the Casey Keller and like the broadcast.
Yeah, the show.
Mm-hmm. Bob Lee there too? I can't remember.
He was. I took an excellent photo of Graham Zusi taking a corner because we were right in the front row. Yeah. Those were fun times. Yeah, beautiful stadium there. What's left?
Well, anonymity claiming that he doesn't ever see Chris fighting, but he sees Chris drinking too much. He obviously, I've known Chris for 30 years. Chris will fight anything and anybody in any time.
Yeah, we had to fight a guy in the street once who Chris took a cigarette from behind his ear and threw it down as a manner of aggression. It's happened. There was a guy in the AO section who we hated in Philly. That almost went down. It happens.
Nothing got that bad. We just had an argument with someone.
We just can't tolerate their bullshit, is what it is. I mean, that's all it is. So yeah, there's countless others that are out there that we can't talk about that have been affected by your anger and rage.
Well, that, and we've been vetoed by district attorneys and told not to talk about it.
Original Christian says he's heard a rumor from a crew insider that Will Trapp may leave the crew for Europe soon. I would be interested to see that. Trapp's a guy that I think is better than most people give him credit for.
It's a trap!
But still maybe not good enough to play that position for us. But we'll see. So I would like to see what he can do in Europe. I guess if you're a crew fan, though, with Steffen leaving and perhaps Trapp leaving, at least your team is staying. At least your team is. At least your team's staying now. So you can't complain about too much. But Alex says Trapp would go to the Netherlands. Yeah, and again, it's tough to gauge. It's tough to gauge the Netherlands. Lots of goals there. Lots of goals. So, I don't know. I think you might be right, Ace. He might just be a good MLS player. And maybe he's one of those guys that leaves for a couple of years and comes back. So Chris Richards is a guy who was in an MLS academy with FC Dallas, and he either has or is just about to fully sign with Bayern Munich. And he's going to be in their youth system now because he's been on trial there or on loan there. I don't know specifically what you call it, for a couple months, and they really like him. So they're going to keep him with their youth team, and maybe that means there's another American working his way up at Bayern. Hopefully it goes better than the last time there was an American at Bayern in Julian. So
there is the chance, perhaps, that there will be a second one in a few months. I mean, if we go by rumors.
Who's that? Oh, yes. That one. Yes. I still think that's the best destination for him if he's going to move. And
Agreed.
You know what? Announced this week, Arjen Robben is not coming back to Bayern. So,
really? I had not heard that one. Huh.
So I sent a question into the Minivan Dad Soccer Pod as to how would he do in MLS? Would he be injured all the time? Would he succeed? Would he care? But
would his arm get broken from the way he swings it around?
You need the dodgy flapper, as Men in Blazers call it. Yeah, you need that. You need that arm. That's how he cuts inside. He does the little. It's like the little move, and then he cuts inside. That's how he does it. I said for many years, because this is been going on for 2 years. Pulisic is Robin to me. That is the comparison. I don't think he's a 10. I think he's the streaky winger who can cut inside and work some magic there. So if I'm right about that, then maybe we'll get the chance to see if he is a like for like replacement for him. So a Robin. I don't know that he's going to end up being that good. Why? What anonymity? What? Why is that terrible? A one-footed diver. He's a really good one-footed diver who's had a lot of success as a professional player.
Hey, when you have success against,
he was a top 10 player in the world for a while.
There was contact in the box versus a certain someone who won't be named from Mexico.
Oh yeah, it was not a dive against Mexico.
I was going to say
definite foul.
If you can take a dive successfully against Mexico, you've won.
That may, and I'm not going to lie, that may cloud my judgment of him because I loved that so much that, you know, I've been a big Robin fan since, but all right. Have we covered it, guys? Is there anything else you really feel like we need to talk about?
No, I think
Yeah, his hairline is good. I dream of that kind of hair. Anonymity. There's that picture he took with Alex. I look at sometimes. I think it's Alex's profile picture. And Pulisic's looking all like, it's a handsome dude. I mean, I'm not saying not as handsome as Chris, but
the only one that has hair like Chris is Kyle Martino.
Yeah, it's either Chris actually feels like Kyle Martino is living the life he was supposed to live, marrying the actress, playing professionally, and then talking about it on TV. Chris has, I don't know that he hates him like he hates a lot of other people, but
no, I like Kyle Martino.
I think you have a jealousy toward him or something.
I was never really a fan of him as a player, but no, I like him. I like him as a
yes, Alex, I'm talking about you.
And things.
He's good on TV, I think. He's got that street soccer thing going on too. That seems pretty cool.
Indeed.
All right. Looking at the comments to see if there's anything else we really want to talk about. Do you guys have any non-soccer questions for us? I do like the non-soccer questions. People get mad when we start going down that road, though. But
it's been almost an hour. I think we maybe that might be a whole show in itself, though. Just non-soccer questions. Send them in. We'll answer them one show.
You keep saying that if we get to 1,500 subscribers,
we're still sitting at 1,300. So I guess we're not getting there. So
we're almost to 1,350 last I checked. So
okay, I can only see.
Yeah, I mean, we've only got what realistically maybe 2 more shows left this year. I'm sure we're not doing one in the week between Christmas and New Year's, right? I won't be here if we do, but
no, I doubt it.
Actually, isn't Christmas like on a Tuesday? So
it's on a Tuesday.
Christian wants to know why there's a soccer ball on my bookcase. That is my son's 2015 Champions League final match ball that he won in a contest. We throw it up there so that the dog doesn't eat it. So that's why it's there. Plus, I like Champions League balls. I think they're cool, and it's a nice little decoration on my shelf. I also have a bobblehead Schweinsteiger and the shitting Messi on that shelf too, but they're probably too far away to see. They're up there. Up there.
You have what? My mic lost connection for me.
I have a Champions League match ball, the shitting Messi that you got me in Barcelona, and a bobblehead Schweinsteiger. Yeah, what is it called in Catalan?
And where's your Emmy?
The Emmy is I have 2 Emmys, and they're in the closet in that room. Because I feel like a jackass leaving them out. So I did bring them on the show for you a couple weeks ago, but one of them. But my wife has one as well for her work as a TV producer, and hers is sitting out because she does not feel like being humble.
Well, because she's better than you at that.
Yes. Plus, I mean, what do I do now? I do this crap. So, but I won an Emmy for USfanTV, and the way they give out Emmys these days at the local level, it's not to say we can't. As long as we're willing to pay the entry fees, then we would leave it out.
Well, but we'd have to talk to Chris about that because Chris is the money guy here.
The door behind me goes to my kitchen. That's my kitchen up there. And then the one right behind my head is a bathroom. And then where I used to do the show, no, not there, around the other corner there, right there in that room is where I used to do the show. That's my laundry room. But I got tired of setting up. Like, this is already here. So I do the show from here.
What is your favorite soccer book?
I like Bobby Warshaw's a lot. I really like Pep Confidential. I really like, which I read a few months ago, I really like This Love Is Not for Cowards by Robert Andrew Powell. But my favorite soccer book is and will always probably be Fever Pitch.
That is a good one. I'm also quite a fan of This Love Is Not for Cowards. I think my favorite is probably Among the Thugs. by
Ooh,
Bill Buford,
Bill Buford, yeah.
where he basically went and talked to a whole bunch of hooligans back in the 80s, like why they support teams, why they do this, what their drivers are and stuff. It's like it has good stories in it of ridiculous things people did. And I don't know, it's interesting to hear from some of the people because even by the time like soccer in say England or most of the world except maybe some games in some places in Spain, Italy, and like Eastern Europe and Russia for sure. But it's so much more sanitized than it used to be. Even like when I started, when like I was in college, going to my first Premier League games, you couldn't wear like team colors out like in the wrong place, Uh, now you can like openly wear it on the tube and stuff, and nobody like bats an eye really. You might get a comment here or there, but like back then it was still much more dangerous, and that was far cleaner than it had been 5 or 10 years before that. It's interesting to me to hear how to kind of hear the stories from the people who were really involved, like some of what it was like.
I mean, Red Star and those teams are so crazy, right?
Yeah, like a hell of a lot of
Obviously,
Eastern Europe
as
and
we found
Russia.
out,
Those are still nuts.
the Buenos
It could
Aires
still
teams are
happen
nuts.
certainly in Argentina.
Yeah.
Yeah, Boca River. There you go.
Well, they need to figure that out pretty damn soon, considering the FIFA Club World Cup
They have
starts
to have a
on
winner
the
for that.
12th.
Yeah.
It starts in 6 days. They better have a winner pretty soon.
I
I
haven't
have
even.
Soccernomics. I've never actually read it.
Another good one is
Sitting around for me.
besides, and I think it was Alex who said Das Reboot by Honigstein. Honigstein's new book about Jurgen Klopp is awesome. Klopp is an amazing character. So that's another good soccer book. Trying to think of any others that I really, really liked. The Miracle of Castel de Sangro is good, but as Alex's dad pointed out one time, the author is quite nuts. But it's a decent book. What else? Maybe Grant Wall's new book, Masters of Modern Soccer, is okay because he kind of went position by position. I thought it was okay.
Oh yeah, I was going to say
pretty solid.
The Beckham
Beckham book's good. Yeah, it was really interesting.
That actually is a really good book.
Mm-hmm.
I found some parts of it, like the Alan Gordon interviews, I think were probably my favorite part of it. It was amazing to truly hear what life was like for guys who were making
the disconnect
pennies.
Was amazing.
Yeah,
that was the best part of the book.
Pennies, and then we're showing up alongside a guy who,
and he didn't
had
totally
private planes and things.
He didn't get it yet.
Yeah.
He didn't get what he had gotten himself into yet, and I think it kind of pissed off Donovan because he was kind of in the middle. He was the other sort of rich guy on the team that he knew obviously what the LA.
And realistically, I'm sorry for David Beckham lovers out there. He wasn't the best player on the team. Donovan was better than him at that point for sure, and yet Donovan was not getting top billing. Like I understand some of why his ego was upset, but yeah, that like the two of them. Well, first that Beckham wanted to like park his car under the stadium because it was too nice, and then Donovan was like, "Wait a minute, I got an expensive car too. Like, why don't I get to?" And it was like, so the two of them were getting to park their cars at the stadium while everybody else was out at like a commuter lot.
By the tennis courts.
Yeah. I have not seen Lawless say that America needs Boca River type insanity here, but
I don't. I mean, to a point.
I don't know that we need that to be good, but because I mean, realistically, okay, when's the last time Argentina won a World Cup? And they have fucking Lionel Messi. So I don't think that's, and I don't say that to knock Argentina because I'm a fan of Argentina, but I just say that I don't think that's an absolute necessity. That said, when people care that much, yeah, things. You will find more drive for success at all levels because you'll see more grassroots stuff. Look, I don't know that the person who could have been the best player of all time had to twice come out of Argentina. It's that Argentina just had more people at the grassroots level who were nuts, who were so committed to this that they would do anything, and probably that they were dirt poor, so this was their way out.
I hate to break the news to you. Well, Lawless can dream. He can keep smoking as much weed as he wants. There's never going to be that kind of rivalry like that in the United States, and because those typically are due to something political or something religious.
There's a lot of history,
and then let's go a step further. The trend of sports isn't towards rivalries anymore. It isn't towards any of that. It's towards gambling. And gambling isn't going to give anybody committed enough to a team that they're going to want to fight somebody else for being a fan of another team. That's just not how that works. But everything in sports in the United States is aimed towards gambling now. You
weren't at the Globe on Sunday, TJ.
Well, no.
Violent Chris.
It was
that's Chris.
By the way, it was not that bad. I made fun of a guy for being a Spurs fan.
It was an Inspector Gadget style hard swivel around to reveal a double middle finger right in the face.
Yeah, but Chris is most likely to kick a homeless guy for.
I think Chris is most likely
to kick a homeless guy for no reason. So.
The people talking about Beckham, I think Beckham's this weird sort of case where he was a celebrity first and a soccer player second. So I don't know that he was overrated. He was way more famous than he was good, which is a really weird thing that we don't see.
That's true.
Yeah. Like he was really good for what he did, but he was way more famous than he was good at what he did.
It's not that I necessarily say he was overrated because he was just a one-trick pony. His one trick was really, really good. I mean, to me, it's sort of like Mesut Ozil. Like, he has one trick, and it's awesome. Like, he's world-class at that one trick. But what else does he do? Not a lot. Beckham could put a ball anywhere on the field from anywhere on the field, like just drop it wherever he wanted. He wasn't the greatest at bending it. Realistically, there were better guys even at his time. It sounded good in the
Ronaldinho's free kick. What?
But he was his service delivery was incredible. It was impeccable. So in that regard, he was awesome. It was the rest of his game, and then on top of it, after he broke his foot, it's not that he was fast anyway, but then to get he slowed down, and it worked in MLS.
Chris, you're saying that like he was ever fast.
No, I know.
I'm sorry.
I said it's not like he was speedy to begin with.
Sorry, not Ronaldinho, Roberto Carlos.
Oh God. Yeah, that
bend it like him
40-yard thing. Yeah, he was actually who I was thinking of. But when you said Ronaldinho, I was like, yeah, he had some amazing ones too. But yeah, like Roberto Carlos, that dude kicked balls so hard they look like hockey pucks or something. Where it's like you can barely see it moving through the air.
Hey, David Beckham had a really wonderful red card in the World Cup. Let's not forget that. Against Argentina, ironically enough.
When Pat and I saw Real Madrid play
Chivas.
Oh yeah, Chivas. Yeah. I will always I wore a Brazil jersey for Roberto Carlos, and this Mexican dude goes, "Ronaldo sucks!" really loud. It always still makes me laugh. I was like,
I think we even carried that over to New Ronaldo.
Yeah.
Because it was just funny to say, but it was aimed at Fat Ronaldo.
Yes. It's old enough that Roberto Carlos was playing for him. So yeah, this is old Ronaldo. I was like,
I was just gonna say,
Ronaldo was good. He was like,
and he didn't rape anybody.
Anonymity, I mentioned Modric a little bit ago, but this is what I think of that. In the 90s, when I was a youth, and guys like Charles Barkley and Karl Malone would win the NBA MVP, it would piss me off because I'm like, this is not, no. And then Jordan would go and destroy them in the finals and ruin their souls and win the finals MVP. I'm like, why are we doing this? Why are we giving this award to Luka Modric? And I like him. Like, he's a very, very good player. But why? How is Messi 5th in the voting? Seriously. How?
Wow.
Like,
it's like there's a podcast that covered this earlier in the week.
I haven't tuned into this portion of the Minivan Dad
almost verbatim how I explained it was like Jordan and now LeBron and other people, or when
I don't understand.
When Steve Nash was winning,
Steve Nash won too,
versus Shaq, yeah.
I don't understand. I know he made the two biggest finals. I get that. I get that he's a great player. He's not better than Messi. He's not better than Ronaldo. Mo Salah, you could argue, had a better year. I mean, Mo Salah didn't go nearly as far in the World Cup as he did, but it's.
I think that the only argument
I don't get it.
The only argument you could make for Modric was the fact that on the biggest stage in the World Cup, he was amazing. Where Ronaldo, not so much. Messi, he carried Argentina, but Argentina was not good, so it kind of gets lost a little bit.
But
and he was in that Champions League final. Modric was really good in that Champions League.
Awesome.
And it's nice to see somebody else win it. I will say that. But no, is it the most deserving body of work? Is it the best player? I mean, depends on what you think that award you should be voting for. Anyway, and if it's a team award given to a really good player, maybe it is him. But if it's the best player, it's not him. So
no, in anonymity, I see you mentioned Kylian Mbappe, and he didn't get one yet. He's not far, and he will be. I think he's going to be
winning that award a lot. I think.
Yes, he is. Yes.
I think the difference was, he had a great World Cup too, but he didn't have to carry France. They had all kinds of guys who could help with that load. Modric, it was pretty much him and 10 other players, He had a lights out World Cup, that's for sure. Anyway, I think we've done it.
I think we have. So I guess for me, I want to finish with Alex, you should be doing your homework.
Is someone throwing up somewhere?
What?
I hear throwing up. Somebody's throwing up. And it's in my ear. It's not in my house. So one of you guys has something to go deal with, I think.
Just sneezing really loud. Have you heard that?
Damn, she sneezes like Peter Griffin. Jesus Christ.
My mic is too quiet, but that...
I thought it was a man throwing up.
Has any player since Beckham come close to superstar status in MLS? Henry, Zlatan. Well, Zlatan's a deity, so we don't need to really go into that. He's way above Beckham just because he's the Zlatan. That's all you need to know.
I mean, both of those guys are better than Beckham.
They were definitely better. They actually made a difference for their teams. I don't think Beckham. I don't think the Galaxy won anything because of Beckham.
But if you ask,
he helped. But
if you ask Joe sports fan about Thierry Henry or Zlatan, they may not even know who they are, and everybody knows who David Beckham is. So,
which is a shame because Henry definitely helped. Definitely made Red Bulls a better team.
That sounds like an argument we should carry to next week. Which which one did have the biggest? Because Roy Keane realistically is the answer to that. But so that's why I want to get. Before we go down that rabbit hole tonight.
Best DP ever? Is that what you're trying to say?
David Villa, Giovinco, or Roy Keane?
Roy Keane.
Part of me thinks Cuauhtémoc Blanco.
Very good. This is USFanTV. We have a website called USFanTV.com. We don't own .org. I was going to make a joke there, but we don't have that. When are you guys going to go buy it right now? Like that Rudy Giuliani tweet. We have Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, and you should follow those and subscribe to us on YouTube, please. We're nearing 1,350 subscribers, and that's what we always wanted to have. That was the target number that we set in our minds. So help us get there, and then we'll raise the target number like it's a GoFundMe. TJ, do you have any final words? Minivan Dad, Soccer Pod, TJ, host, do you have final words?
Oh, I already gave my final words. Alex, go do your homework. I got nothing beyond that. Other than
Chris, how do you follow up the Minivan Dad?
You're done.
All right, go subscribe to USfanTV. Subscribe to the Minivan Dad Soccer Pod now on iTunes. Trademark, where TJ will have you guys on. He's going to have all of you on the show. So he's going to get music too, hopefully soon. He's working on that. That's it. You're done.